Hi, everybody. I'm going to go over here next to my portrait of my baby. This is my Lee. Everybody, my name is Marsha Burrell-Green, and I am a survivor. My son, Lee Andrew Williams, lovingly called Wid, was my second of 3 children. He has an older sister, Michelle, and a younger brother, Montre, and then he has 3 other brothers on his dad's side, but they're real close. Lee was a father of 2 beautiful daughters, now 18 and 16. And Lee was loved and respected in the community of Salem. And they called him, and as well as me, as the quiet storm because of his quiet demeanor. And he wasn't one to start anything, but if you play with his family, he didn't handle, he didn't do that well. So, when it came to his family, he didn't play. He loved to play PlayStation. It was a thing that he played with his daughters, fellas, all of us, Mario Go-Kart, right? So we, played that, and we talked trash and stuff, and we had things with our family. Sunday, July the 12th of 2020, started as any other Sunday. I went to church like I usually do, and I had got a missed call from Wid that day. And he was like, Mom, he left a message and said, Mom, is anybody at the house? And I still have that voice message today. And because he wanted to drop some clothes off. You know how, them and them girlfriends and them baby mamas, you know how that goes, right? So, she put him out once again. So he had to bring his clothes to the house. So instead of coming straight home that Sunday like we usually do, me and my husband, we rode around and he shopped at some stuff that he didn't got off of Facebook Market, and the phone kept ringing. It was his baby mom calling, and then my daughter calling, and my grandson calling, and just calling. And I was on the phone. We were in the midst of buying a house. And I was on the phone with the seller. So I said, let me call you back. And I answered the phone with my daughter, and that moment changed my life forever. She said, Mom, Wid was shot, and he's on his way to the hospital. You got to get here. And that was a trigger to me because just a few years earlier, his father was shot. And he was airlifted during a home invasion. He was airlifted to the hospital in a critical condition, but he pulled through. And I said, okay, this has to be the same fate. So I'm going to get there, and they're going to tell me my baby's okay, right? He's going to pull through. But when I got there to the hospital, they came out to tell the family, said, we're working on him in the back, and we'll come out and we'll give you an update. And that was the longest 10 minutes of my life. And they came out and they told me that he didn't make it and that they were going to prepare the body for us to come back and view. After I left the hospital that day, I came home and I found his clothes that he left. And I said, this can't be real. I know he's still going to come in because every Sunday we had Sunday dinner and we talked trash on each other's football teams or basketball teams, right? And I said, he got to come home. I'm expecting him to walk through that door to tell me why his baby mama put him out, and we can laugh and joke about it, but he didn't. I expected him to come home. Just like those ones at the Sandy Hook shooting. You know how they went to school and those parents were expecting their kids to come home. Those loved ones were expecting their loved ones to come back home. They were expecting, right? Just like any other day, and they didn't come home. And neither did mine. Then it turned to guilt, because I said if I answered the phone when he called me that Sunday, maybe I would have held him up a little bit and he wouldn't have been in that place. See, it wasn't just my son that got killed, Joe. It was my son and his best friend. And it was somebody that had an issue with his best friend. And my son just so happened to be collateral damage because he was at the wrong place at the wrong time. And I'm sure just like those ones at the Sandy Hook shooting, and those survivors they felt the same way. And just like that perpetrator at the Sandy Hook that took those kids felt as though he had the right, so did the one that took my son's life. He felt as though he had the right to take my baby. So I'm so grateful for Soul Shots. I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to be able to bring my baby back to life to me, just to see his face and the twinkle in his eyes. And you know what, my artist right here, Jeff Finney, the best. He didn't even know, and I didn't even tell him about my son being a donor. And it's funny because the twinkle in his eyes was his eyes that were donated. So someone has my baby's eyes right now. And I thank God for this, and I thank God for Jeff, because he brought everything that I wanted about my baby to life. The son, the names of his daughter, Aaliyah and Leasia, and the hearts that showed about his big heart that he had, right? I don't want to say about everything. Come on over here with me, Jeff. But he did everything that I wanted, even the quiet storm. Y'all see that in the back? That quiet storm, he even captured that for me. Jeff, tell him a little bit about it.
Wow, what can I say? I'm so honored. Basically, I'm like an abstract painter who can do digital art. And when Marsha sent me her list of things she would like in the portrait, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? You know, how am I going to put all these important things in? And for some reason, it was easy for me. This is something I never do, but this project gave me such a warm feeling. And when I was creating it, it just all came together, everything, except for the quiet storm part. As an artist, I'm thinking, how do I create a quiet storm? So thank God for the internet and AI and everything else you can imagine. But I really enjoyed putting wit in this portrait. And it's funny you mentioned the eyes, because I told you that at the very end. I put colored pencil just on his eyes, and I did not know that part about his eyes, but I wanted his eyes to twinkle. So the hearts were the very last part. I sent Marsha a note, and I said, listen, this is almost done. But I have this idea. I want to put these heart gems around his two lovely daughters, and it brings just like a little twinkle and a sparkle to the portrait. And I don't know, I get as much out of it as you do, so I appreciate you letting me work on that. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you all.